Everybody gotta find their own way home. You can't show no one just how to go. Some people like to fly, some people like to stay down low. Well, I wanna show you something real that you ain't seen. Give you a little break in your routine. When I talk about it, I want you to know what I mean.
Hey, welcome to our film. My name is Greg Grant, and welcome to my life in an off-the-grid, solar-powered pyramid. So this movie is a documentary about my life, documenting my life on solar power in the woods of northwestern Montana, living in an alternative home, which means that it's non-conventional. I built it out of straw bales and peeled logs and chicken wire and other stuff like that, and I'll go into lots of detail in this film, and I have step-by-step photos and video of the process. My main message in producing this movie is I built my house very cheaply. I didn't need a bank loan or any kind of loan like that. It was, you know, the first house that I lived in was just a few $1,000s. I lived there 10 years, and the house only cost $2,500. Yeah, that's right, $2,500. I lived there for 10 years that way. I want to share the amount of freedom that gave me, the freedom from having to pay a mortgage or rent or anything like that. It gave me a lot of freedom to be the musician that I am. That's what I am. I'm a musician. I am not a carpenter. I'm not a solar installer. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a politician. I don't even have a college degree. But I have this story that I think is timely right now, that alternative energy works and you can build your own house, just as I did. I do have some experience in construction. Aside from music, I've done lots of odd jobs and probably spent about 4.5 years of my life working in construction. So I did have some experience in that and some know-how. But all you need is someone with a little bit of know-how, and you too could build your own comfortable, energy-efficient dwelling. And that's what I'd like to share with you in this film. Also, this film is a reaction because I hear so much about how expensive green energy is and green construction is, and I know it can be, and there can be an upfront cost in terms of, you know, solar panels and your battery system and all that. There can be an upfront initial cost that's a lot more expensive than paying your, you know, $40 or $60 or $20 a month, whatever your utility bill is. But over time, it's actually cheaper, and that's one thing I want to show in this movie. But just for a ballpark idea, as I said, the one structure I lived in for 10 years was $2,500, and my solar system that I have added on to over the years was roughly about $5,300. So that's really not a lot of money over 14 years, and I haven't had to pay an electric bill or any other kind of bill on top of that. But I hear a lot of intelligent people who say that, you know, wind power and solar power, they're not enough to produce energy for our world, and I vehemently disagree. And, you know, I can't talk about producing energy on a large scale. I don't have knowledge of that. I can only talk about my experience producing it for myself on a small scale, and it works, and that's what I'm going to try and show you in this film, as well as lots of details and video of the 3 structures I built. And I'll just say I built one structure at a price tag of $500 for 200 square feet, just a little studio guest house. So, you know, you can start out at a few $100s and have a comfortable home. And then this current house I'm in is about 2,400 square feet and cost about $20,500. So that's about $8.56 a square foot, I believe. And yeah, welcome to the film. I'm going to show you lots of video. Hey, so this is the utility room where I have all my solar load controls. So Coming in from the outside, I have all my solar panels, and the electricity is coming into this combiner box. I don't know how well you can see, but there's fuses here. Each one comes in, and each one is fused individually. Right now I have 6. I had 7, but I lost one in a lightning storm. And then the power comes out of here into this charge controller. And this basically controls the charge, keeps it from overcharging the batteries. It'll disconnect the load if there's any kind of a problem, a short. And it's very accurate. It's a digital one. And then from there it goes into my fuse box. And this basically just controls, I have 3 different loads, one for the refrigerator, one for a freezer, and one for the rest of the house. So it's fused just as it would be in a normal house. And of course these are battery chargers, all 3 of these, and I don't use those most of the year, but between November and April I use them. Sometimes run the generator as much as an hour a day just to charge the batteries in the dead of winter when there's not that much light here in Montana. This would be so easy in a place like California or New Mexico, Arizona, so many places like that. But we have really good sunshine here a lot of the year in Montana. And yeah, and you saw the battery bank, and there'll be a close-up of that, and that is the utility room. Oh, and I forgot to mention the inverter is kind of the heart of my system. That converts the sunlight is being controlled and fused. It's being stored in the batteries, and that's as DC power, direct current power. This inverter converts the DC power to AC power, which is what most of the world runs on, alternating current. So you probably can't see it that real well, but you know, it shows the state of the batteries, what they are at DC, which is right now 12.6. It shows you how many amps I'm using, which right now is 6 amps at DC, but this is sending, you know, just as in a normal house, an alternating current. So you can plug in your computer or lights or your clothes washer, radio, stereo, whatever you're using. It's coming out. It's very clean power, and this is a true sine wave inverter. So there's modified sine and true sine. Modified sine is taking little samples of the sine wave, but it's not nearly as smooth or as real as a true sine wave inverter, which is a little bit more expensive, but it's well worth it if you have sensitive computer equipment or audio equipment. With the modified sine, often you'll hear a buzz, which can be very annoying. Sometimes you hear it in your lights as well, but with the true sine, it is cleaner than most conventional homes in terms of power, because there's no dropouts, there's no spikes, no surges, no brownouts. It's very consistent right from the batteries. And yeah, it's wonderful to be in charge of your own power situation, although there is an effort involved, of course. So you have to maintain it, and you can spend lots and lots of money and have everything more automated, which is something I did not do for lack of money. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. So, moving on.